The screen lights up. You scroll to their name. Again. Not to text, just to check. A glance, a pause. The same ache rises. Familiar, like a shadow that never leaves. You tell yourself it's nothing, just a habit. But each tap tightens the loop. Not their hold, yours. Chasing. Their silence doesn't explain why they left. It only carves the wound deeper. Why does their absence feel like proof you failed? You think one more look will settle the question. Clarity will come. But clarity doesn't live in their shadow. Each moment you linger builds a cage. Not for them, for you. Overthinking isn't understanding. It's a reflex, a trap. One you choose to step into every time you check. The cost isn't loud. No one sees it. No one hears the weight. But you feel it. In the quiet, late at night, when the phone is down and the question still burns. Each unanswered why pulls you further from yourself, not from them. Regret grows in the gaps you keep revisiting. The loop doesn't break because they answer. It breaks when you stop asking. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Marcus Aurelius. Their silence isn't your truth. It's just silence. Clinging to it gives it weight it doesn't deserve. The misery isn't in their absence. It's in your refusal to let go. Ignoring this keeps you tethered, not to them, to pain. When you chase their shadow, who are you really running from? You think you're seeking answers, but the mirror shows something else. A pattern, a choice. Each step toward their silence is a step away from your own stillness. You don't need their words to close the wound. You need to stop reopening it. The loop runs until you choose to step out. 9 lessons wait. Not to heal you, not to save you, but to show you the cage was never locked. You think one more answer will end the ache. If you know why they left, the weight lifts. A reason, a word, something to close the gap. You tell yourself this every time the quiet stings. Explaining their silence will free you. That's the logic. That's the trap. Each question you ask doesn't lighten the load. It adds to it. The more you seek their truth, the tighter the knot. Not theirs, yours. Overthinking builds a maze with no exit. You're not chasing clarity. You're chasing their shadow. And shadows don't speak. The answer isn't out there. It never was. Searching for it only buries you deeper. In the noise, in the loop, in the misery. Detach from the question and the cage starts to crack. Not because they answer, because you stop asking. Silence waits, outside the noise. Lesson 1. The trap of chasing closure. The phone sits in your hand. You open their message thread, not to write, but to read. Again, the same words, the same gaps. You tell yourself it's just a glance, a way to understand. If you could see why they left, the ache might stop. You scroll, searching for a clue, a reason, something to make sense of the silence. Each word you reread tightens the knot, not theirs, yours. Chasing closure doesn't pull them back, it pulls you deeper into the loop. You think one more look will settle it. If you find the right sentence, the right moment, it'll click. The pain will lift, but each revisit builds a heavier weight. Not clarity, regret. You're not chasing answers. You're chasing a shadow that doesn't exist. The silence isn't hiding truth. It's just silent. Every time you return, you choose the cage. Not because they left, because you keep asking why. The cost isn't loud. No one sees the hours you lose, the nights you spend unraveling their words, or the lack of them. But the cost is there, in the way you drift from yourself. Each question you ask doesn't solve the wound. it reopens it. Overthinking isn't progress. It's a reflex, a pattern, one you step into every time you check. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Epictetus. Their absence isn't your failure. It's just absence. Giving it meaning gives it power. The misery doesn't come from their silence. It comes from your refusal to detach. You don't need their words to close the gap. You need to stop widening it. Stop. Put the phone down. Don't scroll. Don't search. Breathing through the urge is the first step. Not to heal, not to forget, but to break the loop. Let the silence be silent. Withdraw from the question. The answer isn't there. It never was. Pain doesn't mean truth. The loop doesn't break by finding answers. It breaks by choosing to stop. The urge to chase lingers. You close the app, but the question hums. Why didn't they stay? You think you're past it. You're not. The mind circles back, uninvited. Each loop carves deeper, not into them, into you. The ache isn't their silence. It's your refusal to let it rest. You tell yourself you're just thinking, just sorting it out. But sorting becomes sinking. Each why, you ask, doesn't lift the fog. It thickens it. The truth doesn't hide in their absence. It waits in your choice to stop. Chasing closure is chasing misery. Detachment isn't surrender. It's the first act of self-command. The phone stays dark. You don't check. The world doesn't shift, but something does. A pause, a breath. The loop slows when you choose silence over noise. Not their silence, yours. A river runs clear when you stop stirring the mud. Lesson 2. Clinging to old wounds. The memory surfaces. A moment, a word, a look. It stings, like touching a bruise you swore had faded. You don't seek it out. It finds you, in the quiet of a morning, in the pause of a sleepless night. You tell yourself it's just a thought. It'll pass. But you linger. You trace the edges of the wound, not to heal it, to feel it again. Clinging to the pain doesn't bring them back. It keeps you tethered to a past that isn't here. You think holding on keeps the truth alive. If you let go, it's like they never mattered, like you never did. But each time you revisit, the weight grows. Not the truth, the ache. Regret isn't memory. It's a choice, a reflex. You choose it every time you grip the wound tighter. The misery isn't in what happened, it's in what you won't release. The cost is silent. No one sees the hours lost, replaying moments that can't change. No one hears the voice in your head, asking what you could have done, but you feel it, in the drift, in the way you're here, but not present. Each memory you clutch pulls you further from now. Not from them, from you. A man cannot step into the same river twice. Heraclitus. The past isn't there to hold, it flows. Clinging stops you, not time. The wound doesn't define you. Your grip on it does. Let go doesn't erase them. It frees you to stand where you are. Don't touch the bruise. Let it fade. Breathing through the sting is enough. Not to forget, not to forgive, but to move. Release the memory. The pain stays until you stop feeding it. Let go isn't weakness. The wound only festers when you keep it open. The sting lingers, but you don't touch it. The memory hums quieter now. You set it down. Not gone, just still. The air shifts, lighter, but the urge to grip it waits, always waits. Each time you let go, you choose. Not them. You. Release isn't erasure. It's space. Space to see what's left when the wound isn't fed. You think you're holding the past to understand it, but holding only clouds the present. The clarity you seek doesn't live in what was. It lives in what you do now. Detachment isn't running. It's standing still, where the pain can't pull you back. The moment passes. You don't chase it. The quiet grows not empty, full of you. Not their shadow, breathing through, builds the ground you stand on. A stone sinks when you clutch it. Let it fall, and you rise. Lesson 3. Reacting to silence. Their silence hits. A void where words used to be. You stare at the screen, waiting. No reply, no sign. The urge rises. Text again. Call. Anything to break the quiet. You tell yourself it's just one message, one try. But each tap pulls you deeper. Not toward them, toward misery. Reacting to their silence doesn't fill the gap. It widens it. You think responding proves you're still there. If you reach out, they'll see you. Notice you. But each attempt builds a heavier weight. Not connection. Rejection. The silence isn't a challenge to overcome. It's just there. Every time you act, you choose the ache. Not because they're gone, because you keep chasing their shadow. The cost is visible. No one sees the pulse racing, the mind spinning. No one hears the questions. Why didn't they answer? But you feel it, in the drift, in the way you lose the moment, for a reply that never comes. Each reaction steals your ground. Not theirs, yours. What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. Seneca, their silence isn't your burden. It's just silence. Reacting gives it power it doesn't have. The misery isn't in their absence. It's in your refusal to pause. You don't need their voice to stand still. You need to stop breaking the quiet. Don't text. Don't call. Breathing through the urge is enough. Not to win them back. Not to prove anything, but to stay. Non-reaction isn't defeat. It's self-command. Let the silence be theirs. You don't have to react. The quiet holds. When you don't shatter it, the urge fades, but the silence stays. You don't reach out. The screen stays dark. A breath, a pause. The world doesn't shift, but you do. Non-reaction isn't empty. It's solid. A choice, not to fill the void, but to stand in it. Their quiet isn't your weight. Letting it be builds your ground. You think reacting shows you're alive. That sending one more message proves you matter. But each impulse doesn't prove strength. It proves attachment. The silence doesn't demand your voice. It demands your stillness. Choosing to stay isn't loss. It's self-command. The quiet settles. You don't break it. The ache softens. Not gone. Just lighter. Breathing through. Holds you here. Not there. Not chasing. The silence isn't a trap. When you stop running from it, why didn't they answer? Does it change? What you do now? Lesson 4. Suppressing the arch. The pain rises. Sharp. Unasked for. A memory. A moment. It sits in your chest. Heavy. You push it down. Ignore it. Keep moving. Work. Smile. Scroll. Anything to drown it out. You tell yourself it's gone if you don't feel it. If you don't look, it's not there. But suppressing the ache doesn't erase it. It buries you deeper in the weight. You think burying it makes you strong. If you don't acknowledge it, it can't control you. But each push builds a wall. Not around the pain, around you. Numbness isn't freedom. It's a reflex, a choice. You choose it. Every time you turn away. The misery isn't in the ache. It's in your denial of it. The cost is quiet. No one sees the strain. The effort to keep it locked. No one hears the silence where your truth should be, but you feel it in the drift. In the way you're here, but not whole. Each time you suppress, you lose a piece. Not of them, of you. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. Epictetus, the ache isn't your enemy. Your refusal to see it is. Suppressing builds a cage you can't feel until it's locked. The misery isn't in feeling pain. It's in running from it. You don't need to hide the ache. You need to witness it. Sit with it. Don't push. Don't run. Breathing through the weight is enough. Not to fix it, not to erase it, but to stay. See the ache, let it be, without breaking you. Awareness isn't weakness, it's ground. Stillness is enough. The ache only grows when you refuse to look. The ache sits, heavy, but seen. You don't push it away. You don't drown it out. A breath, a pause. The weight doesn't lift, but it shifts. Witnessing isn't fighting, it's holding space. Not for the pain, but for you. Suppressing built walls. Seeing them starts to crack the stone. You think hiding it keeps you safe. If you bury the sting, it can't spread. But each denial doesn't shrink the ache. It grows roots. Numbness isn't control, it's surrender. The clarity you seek doesn't come from running. It comes from staying still, where the pain can't hide you. The quiet holds. You don't turn away. The ache softens, not gone, just present, breathing through, anchors you here, not lost, not broken. The pain isn't your truth when you stop fighting it. A fire burns, only as long as you feed it. Lesson 5. Overthinking the past. The thought strikes. What if you'd said more? Done less? Been different? It plays uninvited. A scene, a choice, a moment you can't touch. You tell yourself it's just a thought. It'll pass. But you linger. You rewind, dissect, rebuild. Each replay doesn't change the past. It traps you there. Overthinking doesn't fix what was. It breaks what is. You think unraveling it will settle the ache. If you find the right why, the weight lifts. But each loop doesn't bring clarity. It breeds regret. The past isn't a puzzle to solve. It's gone. Every time you return, you choose the cage. Not because it happened, because you keep living there. The misery isn't in what you lost, it's in what you won't release. The cost is silent. No one sees the hours spent rewriting moments that can't shift. No one hears the voice asking what you missed, but you feel it in the drift, in the way now slips through your hands. Each what if steals your ground, not theirs, yours. Accept the things to which fate binds you. Marcus Aurelius. The past isn't yours to rewrite. It's done. Overthinking gives it chains it doesn't own. The misery isn't in what was. It's in your refusal to detach. You don't need to solve the past. You need to be here. Stop. Don't rewind. Breathing through the thought is enough. Not to erase it. Not to understand it. But to stay. Witness the urge. Let it pass without pulling you back. Awareness isn't surrender. It's cold peace. The void is where it clears. The past only holds what you keep carrying. The thought fades, but the pull lingers. What if? Why not? The past hums, soft but sharp. You don't chase it. A breath, a pause. The scene doesn't replay. Not this time. Witnessing isn't rewriting. It's standing still. Not in what was, but in what is. Overthinking built traps. Seeing them starts to break the chains. You think lingering will uncover truth. If you hold the moment longer, it'll speak. But each revisit doesn't solve the past. It clouds the now. Regret isn't insight, it's weight. The clarity you seek doesn't live in what if. It lives in detachment, in choosing to stay here. The quiet settles. You don't rewind. The ache softens, not gone. Just distant. Breathing through keeps you grounded. Not lost, not tethered. The past isn't your cage when you stop building it. Why keep asking what can't answer? Stay here. And the question falls. Lesson 6. Pleasing the unseen. The urge rises. To prove you're enough. To show you're still here. You craft the perfect words. Adjust your tone. Hold back your truth. Not for them, for their shadow. You think, if you're better, kinder, quieter, they'll see you, notice you, stay. But pleasing the absent doesn't bring them back. It erases you, piece by piece. You think effort proves your worth. If you bend enough, they'll value you. But each concession builds a heavier weight, not connection. Shame. The unseen don't judge you. You judge yourself through their silence. Every time you adjust, you choose the cage. Not because they left, because you keep chasing their gaze. The misery isn't in their absence. It's in your refusal to stand. The cost is quiet. No one sees the strain. The hours spent shaping yourself for eyes that don't look. No one hears the voice, questioning if you're enough. But you feel it, in the drift, in the way you're here, but not whole. Each compromise steals your ground, not theirs, yours. You cannot be a slave to both yourself and others. Epictetus. Their silence isn't your measure. It's just silence. Pleasing it gives it power it doesn't own. The misery isn't in their judgment. It's in your refusal to disengage. You don't need their approval to exist. You need to step back. Stop. Don't adjust. Saying less is enough. Not to win them, not to prove anything, but to stay. Withdraw from their shadow. Let their silence be theirs. Self-command isn't bending. It's holding your line. You don't owe anything. The unseen only weigh what you keep offering. The urge to prove fades. You don't shape your words. You don't bend. The silence stays theirs, not yours. A breath, a pause. The weight lifts, not fully, but enough. Disengaging isn't loss. It's ground, not for their gaze, but for your own. Pleasing built cages. Stepping back starts to break them. You think adjusting shows you're strong. If you give more, you'll matter more. But each shift doesn't build worth. It buries it. Shame isn't their verdict. It's your choice to seek eyes that don't see. The clarity you want doesn't live in their approval. It lives in saying less, in holding your truth. The quiet holds. You don't offer more. The ache softens, not gone, just still. Breathing through keeps you here, not diminished, not unseen. Their silence isn't your measure when you stop measuring yourself by it. Seneca stood in exile, stripped of power, yet unbowed. His worth wasn't in Rome's eyes, it was in his own. Lesson 7. Fearing the quiet. The silence falls. No notifications, no voices, just you. The urge rises. To fill it. Scroll, call, move. Anything to drown the stillness. You tell yourself it's just a moment. It'll pass. But the quiet unnerves you. It hums. It waits. Fearing it doesn't make it leave, it makes it louder in your chest. You think noise keeps you safe. If you stay busy, the void can't touch you. But each distraction builds a heavier weight. Not peace, anxiety. The quiet isn't your enemy. It's just there. Every time you run, you choose the cage. Not because it's silent, because you keep fleeing it. The misery isn't in the stillness. It's in your refusal to stay. The cost is subtle. No one sees the strain, the need to keep moving. No one hears the pulse, racing to outrun the quiet. But you feel it, in the drift, in the way you're here, but not present. Each escape steals your ground, not the silence's, yours. What need is there to run from what is within you? Marcus Aurelius. The quiet isn't a threat. Your fear of it is. Fleeing builds a trap you can't see, until you're caught. The misery isn't in silence, it's in avoiding it. You don't need to fill the void. You need to witness it. Stop. Don't scroll. Don't run. Breathing through the quiet is enough. Not to fix it, not to escape it, but to stand. Stay still. Let the silence be, without breaking you. Awareness isn't surrender. It's inner weight. Silence isn't surrender. The quiet only binds when you keep running. The quiet holds, steady but sharp. You don't run. You don't fill it. A breath, a pause. The silence doesn't shrink, but it shifts. Witnessing isn't fleeing. It's standing firm. Not against the void, but within it. Fearing built walls. Staying still starts to crack them. You think noise proves you're alive. If you keep moving, the quiet can't catch you. But each distraction doesn't free you. It binds you. Anxiety isn't the silence's fault. It's your choice to dread it. The clarity you seek doesn't live in chaos. It lives in stillness, in facing what you avoid. The silence settles. You don't break it. The weight softens, not gone, just present. Breathing through keeps you here. Not lost, not running. The quiet isn't your cage when you stop hiding from it. A leaf falls only when the wind stops pulling. Lesson 8. Denying the break. The crack appears. A sting. A memory. Their absence. Raw again. You push it away. Tell yourself it's over. Done. You're fine. You smile. You move. You act like it never happened. But denying the break doesn't mend it. It deepens the fracture in you. You think ignoring it makes it fade. If you don't name the pain, it can't exist. But each dismissal builds a heavier weight. Not healing, grief. The break isn't a flaw to hide. It's just there. Every time you pretend, you choose the cage. Not because it hurts, because you won't see it. The misery isn't in the wound. It's in your refusal to look. The cost is silent. No one sees the effort, the strain to keep it buried. No one hears the quiet where your truth should be. But you feel it in the drift, in the way you're here, but not whole. Each denial steals your ground, not theirs, yours. What is not seen still exists. Seneca. The break isn't your shame. Your denial is. Suppressing builds a trap you can't feel until it holds you. The misery isn't in the pain. It's in avoiding it. You don't need to erase the break. You need to observe it. Stop. Don't smile through it. Breathing through the sting is enough. Not to fix it, not to hide it, but to stay. See the break. Let it be, without breaking you. Awareness isn't defeat. It's rule-based. You can end without drama. The break only festers when you refuse to see it. The break sits, raw, but seen. You don't hide it. You don't pretend. A breath, a pause. The sting doesn't fade, but it settles. Observing isn't erasing. It's holding ground. Not against the pain, but with it. Dennying built shadows. Seeing them starts to clear the haze. You think ignoring it proves you're strong. If you act fine, you are fine. But each pretense doesn't heal the break. It deepens it. Grief isn't weakness. It's truth. The clarity you seek doesn't live in denial. It lives in witnessing, in facing what you'd rather bury. The quiet holds. You don't cover it. The weight softens. Not gone. Just still. Breathing through. Keeps you here. Not shattered. Not lost. The break isn't your cage. When you stop pretending it's not there, why hide what's already true? Because hiding feels safer than seeing. Lesson 9. Expecting their return. You sit by the phone, not checking, but waiting. A hum in your chest. A hope. Maybe they'll text, call, show up. You tell yourself it's nothing, just a thought. But you linger in the space they left. Each moment you wait doesn't bring them closer. It pulls you further. Attachment doesn't summon them back. It locks you in misery. You think holding space keeps the door open. If you stay ready, they'll return. But each pause builds a heavier weight. Not hope. Rejection. Their absence isn't a promise to fulfill. It's just gone. Every time you wait, you choose the cage. Not because they're silent, because you keep hope blindly. The misery isn't in their leaving. It's in your refusal to unhook. The cost is quiet. No one sees the hours lost, staring at a screen that doesn't light. No one hears the voice, whispering they might come back. But you feel it, in the drift. In the way now, slips past you. Each expectation steals your ground. Not theirs, yours. Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for them as they happen. Epictetus. Their return isn't your truth. It's just a wish. Hope blindly gives it. Chains it doesn't own. The misery isn't in their absence. It's in your refusal to release. You don't need their presence to stand. You need to be here. Stop. Don't wait. Breathing through the hope is enough. Not to forget, not to erase, but to move. Let go of the door. Their silence is theirs. Conscious choice isn't weakness. It's detached strength. Detachment is a form of respect. The door only holds what you keep open. The hope fades, but the space lingers. You don't wait. The phone stays dark. A breath, a pause. The silence doesn't shrink, but it shifts. Releasing isn't closing the past. It's opening the now, not for their return, but for you. Attachment built chains. Unhooking starts to free your ground. You think waiting keeps you loyal. If you hold the door, they'll walk through. But each moment spent doesn't invite them back. It traps you. Rejection isn't their silence. It's your choice to linger in it. The clarity you seek doesn't live in their return. It lives in detachment, in choosing to stand here. The quiet settles. You don't hope blindly. The weight softens. Not gone. Just still. Breathing through. Keeps you present. Not waiting. Not lost. Their absence isn't your cage. When you stop guarding the door, a seed grows. Only when you stop digging it up. The door stays closed, but you don't stand by it. The silence holds. Steady now. You don't wait for their step. A breath. A pause. The absence doesn't pull. Not now. Conscious choice isn't forgetting. It's standing firm, not in their shadow, but in your light. Hope blindly built cages. Releasing starts to carve your path. You think holding on keeps the story alive. If you wait, it means something. But each pause for them doesn't honor the past. It dims the present. Rejection isn't their leaving. It's your choice to stay there. The peace you seek doesn't live in their return. It lives in stillness, in being here. The quiet grows. You don't disturb it. The ache softens, not erased, just still. Staying present anchors you, not tethered, not chasing. The door isn't your truth. When you stop holding it open, why wait for what's already gone? Because letting go feels like losing. The silence remains, but you don't guard it. You step away. The door fades, not locked, just still. A breath, a pause. The absence doesn't pull. Not now. Conscious choice isn't forgetting. It's standing firm, not in their shadow, but in your light. Attachment wove traps. Unhooking builds your ground. You think holding on keeps the story alive. If you wait, it means something. But each moment held doesn't keep the past alive. It buries the now. Rejection isn't their leaving. It's your choice to stay there. The peace you seek doesn't live in their return. It lives in stillness, in being here. The quiet holds. You don't chase. The weight lifts, not fully, just enough. Breathing through keeps you whole, not waiting, not broken. Their absence isn't your truth when you stop shaping it. A tide recedes only when you stop holding the shore. The screen goes dark. Your hand rests still. No urge to check, no pull to chase. The room hums. Quiet. Nothing moves except your breath. The silence isn't empty. It's full of you, not their shadow. Not the ache, just presence. You didn't react. You didn't run. The weight didn't lift, but it settled. Stillness held you where noise couldn't. Not to fix you, not to heal you, but to keep you here. Breathing through wasn't loud. It was enough. What stays when you don't chase? The quiet doesn't answer. It waits for you to see. Silence is a choice that holds its own weight.